third video lecture of genetics. In the second video lecture, you saw what are genes, what is monohybrid cross, what is dihybrid cross. Then we ended up on the explanation of the alleles. What are alleles? Now in this lecture, I am going to tell you what are dominant alleles and what are recessive alleles. So this concept is very much important. At the same time, I also want to ask you to take out your pen and paper so that you are also making notes along with me. So I am starting with the dominant allele and dominant allele versus recessive allele. What is the difference between dominant allele and what is the recessive allele? So when I was explaining you the allele, I took the example of one gene. That gene was capital T and small t. I took the example of this gene, capital T and small t. Out of this, I told you that this capital T represents tallness, small t represents dwarfness. So, when in this gene, when both the two alleles are present, one is for tallness, but for tallness you need two capital T's. Here it is just one capital T. So this gene could not show a complete tallness. Second allele is small t, which represents dwarfness. But again, for dwarfness, there is requirement of two small t. So what do you think? What will this gene result into? Whether the progeny will be tall or whether the progeny will be dwarf? What do you think? Because there is no capital T. If capital T was there, then you can tell with surety that this progeny will be tall. And also there is no double small t, so you cannot say that this progeny will be dwarf. So what would be the phenotype of the progeny? Okay, so I have also told you this during the explanation of genes, that for the tallness there are two genes. Capital T will also result in tallness, as well as this capital T small t will also result in tallness. So basically what has happened here is, although there was just one capital T, but this capital T has proved itself as dominant one. It has suppressed the expression of dwarfness. It has suppressed the effect of this dwarf gene, this dwarf allele. So this gene only expresses the capital one. So this capital one, which was responsible for tallness, has decided the complete phenotype of this particular gene. Therefore, this one gene will be referred to as a dominant gene. Dominant allele. This particular allele will be termed as dominant allele. And the another one, which cannot express itself in the presence of its alternative form, this other one will be termed as recessive allele. Recessive allele. So basically, for the explanation of dominant allele and recessive allele, you will have to consider one such example in which the gene is having both the type of alleles. One should be capital, other should be small. Now, this was explanation for dominant allele and the recessive allele. Now, let us understand what are homozygous gene and the heterozygous gene. This is often asked in 2 marks question, homozygous gene versus heterozygous gene. This is often asked in your board exam in 2 marks questions, so pay attention to this. The difference between dominant allele, recessive allele, then the difference between homozygous gene and the heterozygous gene. So, homozygous gene is that gene in which both the alleles are of same type. For example, for tallness, I told you that the gene is capital T, capital T. So, in this particular gene, you are seeing capital T, capital T. Both alleles are same. So this will be the example of homozygous gene. Homo means same. Hetero means different. So this will be the example of homozygous. Again, when I say that for dwarfness, this gene is responsible. So in this gene, again small t, both are same. So these two will be the example of homozygous gene. These two will be the example of homozygous gene. Homo because capital T is there. In gene 1, capital T is there. Same way in gene 2, small t is there. Means both the alleles are same. So therefore it is these two are homozygous genes. Next, for the heterozygous gene, I'll take the above same example. In this, both the alleles are different. This is capital T, this is small t. So therefore this condition is denoting the condition of heterozygosity. Therefore this particular gene is the heterozygous gene. So again I am coming to the explanation of dominant and recessive allele. If you have to write in words what is dominant allele, what is recessive allele. So in this case you will take the example of heterozygous gene. For explaining dominant allele and recessive allele, you will have to begin with the heterozygous gene. You cannot explain dominant and allele concept with the homozygous gene because there are just dominant allele. Either both are the dominant allele or both are the recessive allele. So you cannot take this gene as the explanation for dominant and recessive. You have to choose one heterozygous gene. So now I hope dominant allele and recessive allele concept is clear, as well as I have explained you the homozygous gene and the heterozygous gene. So I guess both the concepts are clear. Next thing, so now I am going to explain you how to draw a Mendelian cross. So Mendelian cross, because all the basic concepts of genetics are given by Mendel. In the earlier lecture, you have seen what is monohybrid cross and what is dihybrid cross. So now you are going to learn how to draw a cross, because this question is often asked in your boards exams in explanatory questions. They will be giving you the description and they will ask you to draw a cross based on those descriptions. So for that, I am telling you the process, how to draw a cross. So what Mendel did for the pea plant, Mendel simply, for a cross you know that two individuals or two parents will be required, one male parent, second female parent. So for his experiment, Mendel chose the tall pea plant and the dwarf pea plant. One parent was tall, second parent was dwarf. So this cross is basically the monohybrid cross. I am beginning with the monohybrid cross. This time I am explaining you the monohybrid cross. Monohybrid cross. Monohybrid cross means only one gene I am considering. Only one gene means gene for the stem height. Only one character, stem height. So for the tallness there are two genes. This one is also for tallness. This gene is also for tallness. This gene is also for tallness. So which one will you choose here? For drawing Mendelian cross, which one to choose? So according to Mendel, you have to choose the pure form, that is a homozygous form. Homozygous gene for tallness is capital T, capital T. Here if I ask you the heterozygous gene for tallness, so you will tell that it is heterozygous gene for tallness. This is also for tallness, capital T, small t. This is also for tallness, but this one I am not taking in my cross, in the parent. Now for the dwarfness, there is just one gene available. So this is the parent generation. This thing, whatever I am writing, you have to write also. Whenever you are drawing, you have to write these things. You have to begin like this. The two characters of the parent you have to write. Then you will be writing their genotype, means condition of the genes. Then you have to draw gamete. So in the gamete, you know that only one allele will go from every gene. When there are two alleles, only one allele will go in one gamete and the second allele will go in second gamete. So here there are two alleles, capital T, these two. For one gamete, only capital T will be there. For second allele, for second gamete, second capital T will be there. Means from parent 1, from first parent, tall parent, these two gametes will be formed. From second parent, what gametes will be formed? These two. Now you have drawn the parents. Now you have drawn the gamete. Next you have to draw the F1 generation. This is the actual process of crossing. So how will the F1 progeny be formed? So in the F1, first gamete, one gamete from parent 1 will fuse with the first gamete of second parent. You know that for the fusion, one gamete from each parent will come. This gamete cannot fuse with this gamete from the same parent. This has to fuse with any of these two, which are the gamete of the second parent. So capital T, small t. This thing is formed. Next, there is chance that this first gamete can fuse with this second gamete of second parent. So again capital T, small t. In nature there is possibility of both. So while drawing a cross, you have to consider the natural circumstances. In the natural circumstance, this first gamete can fuse with this one. If this happens, then such kind of this progeny will be formed. But if this gamete fuses with this one, then this individual will be formed. In the third one, this allele will fuse with this one. This gamete will fuse with this one. Again there will be formation of a new progeny. Now there is possibility that this will fuse with this one. So this progeny will be formed. So total of 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 progenies are formed. Now what will be the phenotype? This is the genotype. I will be explaining you what are phenotype and genotype. But for now, you just have to listen whatever I am saying. So for these genotype, what will be the phenotype? Means what will be the character of the progeny? So this progeny will be tall. Why tall? Because it is capital T, small t. So capital T, small t, this gene is for tallness. And this is again capital T, small t. So this will also be tall. This is capital T, small t. This is capital T, small t. Means all the four progeny formed in F1 generation. Here you have to pay attention. This will build up your concept. So in the F1 generation of the monohybrid cross, all the progeny formed will have same genotype and the same phenotype. Genotype will also be same and phenotype will also be same. So in the F1 you have made the individuals. Now in the exam they ask you to draw the cross up to the F2 generation. Most often they ask you to draw up to F2 generation, because F1 generation is very simple. So for the F2 generation, again you need two parents. So for F2 generation you have to choose the parents from all the individuals which are formed here. If they have not specified you that which parents you have to choose in the F2 generation, then you have to simply choose randomly. So I am choosing these two individuals as the parent for F2. This will be my parent 1 for F2, this will be parent 2 for F2. F2 means second generation. Suppose your father is born from the marriage of your grandparents, your grandmother and granddaughter. So grandmother and granddaughter will represent this generation, parent generation. Then your father or your the brother of your father, that is uncle, those people will represent the F1 generation. Then from the marriage of your father you are born, so you will represent the F2 generation. So for F2 generation, again you have to consider the gametes. What gametes will be formed? So from this parent, parent 1, now you have to ignore these two individuals. You have to ignore these two. You just have to concentrate on first and second parent. So from the first parent, what type of gametes will be formed? Capital T, small t. Two alleles are there. So gametes will be capital T. Okay, fine. Let me change the color of the pen. So this will be capital T, one gamete, then will be small t from this particular parent. From this parent, these two gametes will be formed. Now come to the next parent. From this parent, again two gametes will be formed, capital T and small t. So total of 4 gametes are formed if each time you consider the two parents. These 4 gametes are formed. Now for drawing the F2 cross, the things are not that simple. Although you can draw it this way, but this looks a bit messier. So this is okay, you can draw this way also, but there is one another way to draw the complex crosses. So I am going to tell you that second method. This second method is of Punnett square. I am going to tell you how to draw a Punnett square. So Punnett square is a way to represent the crosses in genetics, to represent the Mendelian cross in genetics. So in the Punnett square, at first you have to draw a square. Okay, fine. So after square, on this side the male gametes will be represented. Okay, fine. Before that you have to count how many gametes are there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 gametes are there. So you have to divide this in 4 boxes. Now on this side the male gametes will be represented. So the first parent, I am considering this parent as male parent, and this parent will be the female parent. So from male parent these two gametes are formed. So these two gametes represent the male gametes. So these two gametes will be represented this side. On this side the male gametes will be represented, and towards the vertical side the female gametes will be represented. Female parent, female gametes. You have to go through this procedure whenever you are asked to draw a cross. Now let us see the formation of individuals. So this capital T will fuse with this capital T. This gamete will fuse with this gamete. So such type of gene will be formed, such type of progeny will be formed. Then this capital T will fuse with this one. This capital T will fuse with this one. Here also I should have used a different color for this. Now this small t and this one. For this block, this small t and this one. So you can write it as, first you can write capital, then you will write the small. So this will be the individual formed. Now lastly, for this box, this will fuse with this one. So the progeny will be small t, small t. Now let us see the phenotype, means what character will these individuals have. Capital T is tall. Capital T small t is tall. Capital T small t is tall. Small t is dwarf. So for genotype and phenotype, there is a ratio. In the monohybrid cross, this ratio is often asked from you. So the ratio of the phenotype, phenotypic ratio in case of monohybrid cross, we are studying the monohybrid cross. So you have to remember that in the monohybrid cross, what will be the phenotypic ratio. So phenotypic ratio means what type of characters you are seeing in all the progeny which are formed. So what characters you are seeing? Either tallness is there or dwarfness is there. Just two characteristics. Either tall or dwarf. Either it can be tall or it can be dwarf. Phenotype means the characters which you can see. The tallness, how many tall individuals are there? 1, 2 and 3. 3 tall individuals are there. Then ratio, dwarf. Dwarf is tall, tall, tall and dwarf is just 1. So the ratio of phenotype for monohybrid cross is 3:1. This thing is very much important. You have to remember this. After phenotypic ratio, you have to know the genotypic ratio. Genotypic ratio in case of monohybrid cross. So genotype, what all type of genes can you see here? Capital T, one gene. Capital T, small t, second type of gene. Small t, third type of gene. Means 3 types of genes you are seeing in this. Capital T, one gene. Capital T, small t, then small t. Means 3 type of genes. These 3 type of genes you will see in the F2 generation of monohybrid cross. These 3 type of genotype you will see. How many capital T are there? Just 1. 1:2, 1 ratio. Capital T, small t, how many capital T, small t are there? 1 and 2. Now, how many small t are there? 1. So the ratio of genotype in monohybrid crosses 1:2:1. This thing you have to remember. These two ratios are very much important for the monohybrid cross. Always remember, whenever monohybrid cross ratio is asked, they will ask you what is the phenotypic ratio and what is the genotypic ratio. So genotypic ratio is 1:2:1. Phenotypic ratio is 3:1. So this was how to draw the cross. Now what are genotype and what are phenotype? So now let us understand what is genotype and what is phenotype. Although during my explanation you would have known from your common sense that uh, what is the thing which I am calling genotype and what is the thing which I am calling phenotype, but still I am going to explain you that. Sometimes they give you the phenotype and they ask you about the genotype. So phenotype is the character that you can tell in words. For any organism there are characters which you can tell in words. Suppose for the pea plant, if the phenotype is given that it is a round seed is round, so how will you represent its gene? So the representation of gene of that character, representation, how will you represent that character in genetics using the alphabets, is termed as the genotype. So for round seed, what genes I have told you earlier. In the first lecture, I told you that for the round seed, it can be two genes, either capital R or capital R small r. These two genes are responsible for the round seed in case of pea plant. So here the phenotype was given and you are asked to tell the genotype. So genotype can be either of the two, either capital R or capital R small r. So here phenotype was given and genotype was asked. Sometimes they give you the genotype, then they ask you the phenotype. For example, if they give you the genotype small r, they ask you what will be the phenotype. So in case of pea plant, I have told you in the first lecture that small r represents the wrinkled seed. So wrinkled seed will be the required phenotype for small r. Small r is the genotype and wrinkled seed is the phenotype. I'm stopping here. Please keep following the channel for my next videos. Thank you so much.